Welcome back to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C., and today is another Forrest Fenn day. We are still in quarantine, and thought I'd continue to put out videos, research, and keep on content. We'll keep plugging away. So today is episode 127, which is outrageous to think a few months ago. I was at 0 and just thinking about doing this. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching all the shows and interacting and commenting. And I haven't said this publicly, so I'll just say it at the beginning of this video that, I'm kind of put some other videos on pause for a couple of weeks during this quarantine time so I could spend some more time with my wife. And still wanted to keep the Finn content coming, but the other stuff, I'm still working on other videos. I just just less and less so I can spend more time with my wife, and I'll upload those in a couple weeks, towards the end of April or something, maybe into May. But for the time being, it's just going to be Finn videos, and I'll go live a couple times, hopefully a week, with Mike and Treasures Galore, Logical Searcher, anyone else. So let me know. But now it's time to get to themes where Forrest says things are important or significant or such words as those. All right. We have a fair number. Last week or 2 days ago's video was pretty packed. It was a long one, and this one is going to be long, maybe not quite as long. But buckle up. We got a lot of important things to discuss. Right from the beginning, page 6, pretty close. I know there's another page or two before that, but page 6. He says, over the years, more important things came in and out of my life, so I never much cared even then. Now, one of the things I was doing as I was making this video, as I was doing the research for this video, was I was looking at some of these sentences because I felt like I'd been reading them a lot, and I went back through because I thought I'd actually already recorded a video on important, significant. As I've said over the last several months, especially way back when I was first starting these theme videos, I said, man, I've got tons of these theme videos, keyword videos, and I'll put out 3 a week, and it'll be months and months before I ever get through it, and that was 100% true. So I've been looking at a lot of these themes for 2-3 months, sometimes 4 months, and I'll have themes basically through the end of April, and then as we move into May, I'll start the secondary analysis. But as I was reading these and preparing for this video, I was like, man, I just feel like I've read these sentences so much in other videos. Did I already do this video? And I look back, and I sure as heck have not done this particular word, keyword, theme in a video. It just so happens that this word is in a lot of the sentences of other themes. So is that a theme in and of itself? I think that's what I will explore, or what I hope to find out in May as I look at a secondary analysis. So that being said, over the years, more important things came in and out of my life, so I never much cared even then. In younger days, I didn't know where I wanted to go, but it always seemed kind of important at the time that I get there. So it's 2 mentions of important right off the bat in that first paragraph on page 6. Then page 7, about halfway down, we all know this story. Forrest says that his dad just says, who would you rather have working on your car? A man who just graduated from 4 years of mechanic school, or a guy who has been working on broken cars for 4 years? And then the reason why I said that was because down a little bit, he says he was just standing, talking about Finn's father, he was just standing there by the car doing something important. And he said it to me out of the blue, and I just wanted to read what he said, what his father said. He was really smart that way. Sometimes he would ask me a really important question that I didn't know how to answer and make it seem all right. A couple more mentions on the next page of important things, important questions, being smart, lots and lots and lots. All right, page 13. He says, down at the bottom, actually, there were 2 reasons why I never got around to writing my book. One was because I always had other important things to do, and making plans is antagonistic to freedom. 4th of July, last video. But the other reason was more important. My self-confidence was really down at the bottom. Well, I've said this, and I'm going to keep saying it. I've got to look at Catcher in the Rye. I decided when I was preparing for this video that I'm going to go ahead and promise you that I will look at or reread parts of Catcher in the Rye once I finish these videos, this first round of theme keyword videos, and before I start my secondary analysis, because there's just no way I can go into a secondary analysis with the number of quotes in important literature that have these keywords and themes in them and not have a better understanding of Catcher in the Rye if it's just Forrest mimicking J.D. Salinger's writing style, or if there's something maybe hidden in there as well. So I need to do that research on my own as well. So as you know, many people have stated before, or at least several, Forrest isn't a guy that lacks self-confidence. So that kind of sticks out, that there's not did Holden Caulfield say he lacked self-confidence, and is that why? So I'll leave that analysis for another day. Okay, page 14. So I started to figure things out. Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. And I had a lot of that. Imagination, I mean. And you know what I think about imagination. We don't use enough imagination, not crazy imagination, but enough imagination of where Forrest could potentially have hidden the treasure chest. He says, imagination is more important than knowledge. We're all gaining knowledge, but we don't really want to explore imagination, right? We want all the knowledge we can get, but we're not really exploring the imaginative side. And he says he has a lot of imagination. And one of the interesting things when we talk about the smarter every day, the backwards bicycle, and I said previously that that guy, I think his name's Dustin, I can't remember what his name is, but he says that knowledge does not equal understanding. So you know how to ride a bike, you have the knowledge, but when you put it on backwards, that knowledge is not equal to understand, and you know that it's backwards. So you should just be able to say, okay, if I'll just do it backwards. But for whatever reason, that knowledge of knowing that the steering wheel's on backwards and that you need to reverse it, that knowledge doesn't equal understanding. And so I wonder if another way of writing that mathematical formula would be understanding is greater or more important than knowledge. So maybe imagination is equal to understanding, and they're both greater than knowledge. I'm telling you, I'm dropping all kinds of hints in these videos. We're going to find this treasure chest. All right, let's see here. Down at the bottom, or closer, right, where am I? Lost my place again. So we said he had a lot of imagination, and then we go down towards the bottom. The only thing was he'd left out some really important stuff about when I was a kid and doing different things. So he has to write this book because JD left out some really important things. And I agree. I'm glad you wrote this book, Forrest. I'm glad you wrote this poem, you did this treasure chest, because it's just fun. And especially now with, the coronavirus stuff, it's just great to have something to do. We keep on keeping on. Keep talking, gives us stuff to do. Okay, So now we move to page 24. And Forrest says, besides, about halfway, besides, other important things were building up in my mind. I had so many thoughts I could hardly keep them in my mouth. Other important things were building up in my mind. What do you think those other important things are? Where the treasure chest is? Or just life in general? Page 35. Me in the middle. We don't come up to this chapter as much, just probably because it's shorter, right? It's only one page. So he says, there were 2 years between me and both of them, talking about Skippy and June. So I was in the middle, and that was significant because I felt somehow surrounded. So he says significant. Not important, but this is significant because I felt somehow surrounded. You can laugh at that if you want to, but think of it this way. And you know that if you watch my previous videos, I have a theme video on you can laugh at that, on laugh. And is that some sort of subtle hint that you can laugh at stuff, and then maybe you look at the sentence before. And the more that I go through this, I think that might be a key to understanding some of this silly book and the way that it's written and where the subtle hints are. But I'll make a final determination in a couple of months. All right, page 48. He's talking about the dishwashing job. The job was a big deal right there in the best part of town on the main drag. Well, it wasn't much of a drag, just about 5 blocks. So I put this in here because it's a big deal. So it's a little bit different than important and significant, but he said it's a big deal and it was on the main drag. And so it's important, it's significant in some way. What way? Yet to be determined. TBD. Page 59. He says, down at the bottom, as it was important to be honest with the situation, we limited ourselves to 3 Baby Ruth candy bars each, bed rolls, a shotgun, fly rods, knives, and matches. I think that's just a joke, as it was important to be honest with ourselves, and they didn't really carry everything they needed, but, you know, they had some good stuff. All right, page 61. He said that he had important things to do in town and insisted that we go out. It just sounds like something that Forrest would say. You know, he said he had important things to do, so we needed to get out. Although, maybe important things in town, maybe the treasure chest is actually in like a park in a town near a cemetery or something, and it's actually more in town. So maybe that's a subtle hint. Page 63. He says, at the time, we were both important to ourselves in our own way and for the same reasons, but no one will judge us anymore when I'm gone too. Who cares if you're judged, right, Forrest? Nobody cares. Let them judge. All right, let's go to My War for Me. We've got a number here in quick succession. Yeah. All right, page 80. He says, the climb out was smooth as usual, and the jungle through my windscreen was a deep green and covered with trees 300 feet high that seemed less and less important as we clawed for altitude. All right, for all you tree people that don't believe that the blaze has anything to do with trees, is that a subtle hint that trees are less and less important, even if we need to be braving in the wood? Just trying to think about it from all aspects. Page 98. So he says, that innocuous incident made me wonder how important an average individual could be in the whole scope of life. So here we're talking about the importance of one person, the legacy, the memory. We start to wonder how important an average individual could be throughout it all. The human mind somehow wonderfully conjectures that the body in which it resides is important. It's true. We all think we're important. We all think we have the right solved, don't we? Yes, we do. Or that somebody else's solve is just dead wrong. For what reason? So, page 99. Never mind how important those things were to me at the time. They later added up to a big empty. Talking about the awards. Page 100. Both incidents are important only to me. They have produced something I cherish yet feel inadequate to explain, but I will try. So he says that his time in Vietnam and the Philadelphia saga are both incidences. So he says incidents. Is that right? Incidences? Incidents? Should it be an apostrophe after that? I don't know. Are important only to me. So, but then he says he tries, and I think that's what's really interesting after that, right? All right. Page 102. We're getting there. Only have a few more pages. A few more quotes. Page 102. So he says, 2/3 of the way down. Does that make sense? So, to be important, I only need to impress myself. And then how he impresses himself. And I can do that if others are positively affected by what they see in me or see me do. So that's how he impresses himself. To be important. And that impressing yourself is making a positive impact. All right, page 103. Couple mentions here, or a few. That's why all of Philadelphia was reduced to a thumbnail, to show me that each one is as important as the all, myself no less than any of them, and no more. We're all important. Right? He says that I succeed in this endeavor is not as important as it is for me to make a solid try. And then later on he says, be there when she arrives to let her know your time with her is important. And I think there's, as I said in the previous, videos, I think there's a lot of important stuff here that he's getting at in life. And I wouldn't be surprised if a fair amount of that digested isn't, doesn't have some big hints to the clues in the poem. Page 112. It was an important painting, and the class could see the $150,000 price on the wall sticker. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there per se. Got to finish this up. I hear the dog and the wife. That's what happens when coronavirus and you don't have the house to yourself anymore. All right. it's tough being a house husband without a house. Well, I mean, I have a house, but you know what I'm saying. All right. So, a couple pages earlier, let's see here. Bottom of page 121. But as I got older, I realized there were many moments to remember, like the time I sat under a tree on the Madison River and watched the osprey dive. For fish, I wrote a note. Die for fish, as I wrote a note for my wife, who always allowed me the luxury of doing the things I thought were important. Page 124. So bottom of 121, top of 124. People have talked a lot about that. I think it's a potential moment, but I don't know that has anything to do with it. All right, 4 more quotes, and then I got to go get the dog. Page 135. He says, I've given that a lot of thought because little things can be so important in our lives. I think the little things are important, and I think there's little things in here that we need to be thinking about and using our imagination. It's what I think. All right, page 136. Those things are important, and I'm richer for it. Talking about a horseshoe, the omega. I know people have talked about that. And also just the length, I mean, is that something too far to walk, not far, something like that. Just ideas. And then page 137, he says, on down, it was important to me that I dared. So I'm trying to find that. Did I get the wrong page? Uh-oh. I remember this. Oh man, I must have gotten the wrong page. I think it's the next page. What do you think? Yeah. Man, can't believe this is it's the first time I've ever gotten this wrong when I'm trying to do a show. How about that? He says something about it was important that I dared to be me or something like that. Now I can't seem to find it. That's embarrassing. Well, I'll have to come back and find that another time. And we'll go ahead and end it up on page 145 and close it down because nobody wants to sit here and watch me go through what I should have already gone through and done. Oh, wait. Yeah, it was more fun to run the risk of being foolish, not more important. I don't know. Oh, it was page 143. I knew it was somewhere around here. How silly is that? Page 143, not 137. I don't know why I did that. 143, dang it. All right, well, that was kind of a crazy couple minutes. Thanks for staying with me on that. Page 143. He says, it was important to me that I dared to be myself. And I think that's true for all of us. We should try to be ourselves in the chase. Have your own ideas. Don't just follow what I say or what I think is imaginative or what, some other YouTuber or somebody on Reddit. Do your own read. Everybody's smarter than everybody else in their own way and has their own way of thinking about it. And so you have some unique way of looking at this, and maybe it's the way Forrest intended someone to look at these words and the poem, and maybe you'll be the one to figure it out, not one of us on YouTube or somebody else. I think that's super important to be yourself. All right, last quote, and then we'll end this video. And he says, and what I've learned that's most important is that both countries and people should know enough to just leave other folks alone and do a better job of protecting our planet. I agree, but that seems kind of like a pipe dream, if you know what I mean. People just don't want to leave other people alone. Countries don't want to leave countries alone. And how do we protect our planet? I will say this, though, Forrest, if you're watching, one of the positives about all of this coronavirus quarantine is the lack of use of oil and shutting down some of the businesses and all that. So we are hopefully the planet's taking this time a little reprieve from humanity and healing itself a little bit, So I'll end on an environmental note. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the House Husband Diaries. And until next time, keep reading, keep searching, keep using your imagination and your knowledge, and keep sharing. And we'll find this treasure chest and have a great story to go with it in 2020. So hope you all have a great day. I'll talk to you on the next episode of the House Husband Diaries.